Do you believe, as a Western foreigner, that I, as a Filipina, know how to control my own money? Even money I receive to my foreigner husband? Well, keep watching and let's find out.
Well, that was really a pertinent question, and I think it's a question that needs answering, and especially in reference to you. I think we need to sort this out so it doesn't keep
Yeah,
coming up
yeah,
time and time again. Whether you know people keep on saying that perhaps you're in it for the wrong motives. It's all about money. And so if we look at expenses and my experience with dating a Filipina, i.e., Grace, over the last year and a half and 8 months before that, I don't see any of that. There's no scamming involved, no issues about money. So we're going to look into that. And I'd like to actually share something that I think will be very valuable for Westerners. And just to show the contrast to the way we in our culture
yeah,
view giving and asking compared to the way the Filipinos ask for things and give things.
yeah,
So maybe we can delve into that. But right from the outset, I must say that yes, scamming is a big issue. And it's understandable because it's probably easy to be done for a Filipino woman in the Philippines who has this basically ATM machine because this person really wants her, and this person's in America, and he just wants to please her. So he keeps
mm,
just sending money, 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 money. So you can understand that it's going to be very difficult and very tempting for any Filipino woman and not to just accept what has been sent to her.
yeah,
And so that actually brings me to the point that really the onus of giving is really on the person who's providing that money. So if he's giving and he gets scammed, well, I don't think he can really blame the Philippines.
yeah,
He can't blame the Filipina um, because he's the one that allowed this to happen. So the reason why I'm saying this is because there has to always be some checks and balances when you give somebody something like money, for instance, especially somebody you've never met.
yeah,
You've only spoken to them on WhatsApp, and of course, you can develop very close relationships on WhatsApp,
yeah,
on social media very quickly. So I understand how people do say, "Well, I do know her. I've met her. We've spoken for hours and hours, and she's wonderful. She'll never do this to me." But the point is, unless you've actually met her and spent time with her and her family and seen what pressures, because it's not always her that's behind getting all this money or asking for this money.
yeah,
It's probably the pressure that she's feeling from other people. Eh?
yeah.
Would you say that? What do you think some of the pressures are when people are told that they are got this foreigner person and he keeps sending her lots of money? What do you think the advice would be that she would be receiving from other Filipinos?
Yeah. As a Filipina, I had many pressure that I faced before I'm flying here to be with my husband. That time was we are married, and I need to wait my visa. Then after that, if my visa come and I receive, then we can go back here in South Africa with my husband. But the pressure is, some of them, they advise, you got a foreigner husband now, so you can build a new house, help to your parents and your siblings, or you have a foreigner husband now, you can buy a brand new car, or even special or delicious food. But that pressure that I faced before, I never listened that or affect to me, because others said money can buy happiness. what happened if you follow what they advise to you? Then it's not easy to sometimes not easy to overcome that pressure that you had every day. Different people, eh?
Yeah. So that's the point. They get pressurized. So you might find this gorgeous person, and she's doing crazy things, and you think it's her. You blame her, but actually in the background, it's other people pressurizing her, and they tend to follow. Because these people in other ways and other parts of their lives help them, so they just follow that advice sometimes. But I would once again just say, you have to look at the psyche of of the Philippines, and
Yeah,
how the people think there. And I'm just saying this is what I think, and I'm actually relating it quite closely to the way African people think here in Africa. And I've grown up with this. And this is something that bothered me for years and years and years. And it's something that I only actually found out or figured out about 10 years ago. So most of my life, I was struggling with this. And the point is, it's like the Philippines.
yeah,
African people will see you, they will think that because you are white or you're a foreigner or whatever, that you've got money. And
yeah,
that just gives them a license to do something, and that is to ask. So I've grown up my whole life where I've been asked for things all the time. You know, if they see you in a car, they want the car. They'll ask you for anything in the car, they'll ask for that. They want food, they want money,
yeah,
they want a lift, they want a fridge, they want a holiday, whatever. They just ask. Now, in our culture, in a European culture, we would never ever ask somebody that we don't know, all right, for something. You know, we have to build up a very strong relationship with somebody before we even ask them for a simple thing. And even when we ask them for that simple thing, we usually make sure that there's a win-win situation where they're giving it to you, but in some way or form, they're going to benefit. It's not just a case like in the Philippines. I've been asked for a car, actually. I've been asked for a motorbike. I've already been asked for a mobile. And my rebuttal to these
yeah,
things was then when I was asked, because obviously I'm trying to keep relationships nice
yeah,
within the family, within people that Grace knows. So I would say things like, I don't even have a car myself. I'm driving my dad's old car. I don't have a motorbike. I want a motorbike. So go and buy you a motorbike. I don't even have a motorbike myself. Or like a phone. They asked for a phone, and I said, well, I did actually have my old phone, and I offered them my old phone, and the guy turned around. He said, no, I want a new phone. So obviously he didn't even get that old phone. So my point is, they've got a similar kind of thinking
yeah,
that as long as they ask, eventually somebody's going to give them what they're asking for. But the actual catch to all of this, because obviously you feel bad when somebody asks you for stuff and you can't give it to them. Because can you imagine
yeah,
if I gave that guy a car and I gave him a motorbike and I gave this one a house, we would have nothing. All
yeah,
right, so you can't do it. It's just plain and simple. We can't afford that. But you still feel bad, and it kind of affects our relationship. However, on their side, there's none of that. And this came to the fore. I want to just tell you a little story. It's back when I was like deep in the jungles in Africa, and there was a person that was hurt. Now he was basically working on a government building, and I was there, and I was actually providing the materials for that building, just as part of a community helping out donation. And this guy was building on this roof,
yeah,
and while he was nailing the last sheet on the roof,
yeah,
he actually fell through the roof. Okay, and by some miracle, he he actually just missed some very sharp corners and whatever. But the fact is, he did come through the roof and he landed on the ground. Now, you know, we were all shocked and we helped him up, and he came back to work the next day and he carried on working. So we thought, okay, we're very lucky, he's okay. But then, like 3 days later, I get this message that he's paralyzed. He's totally paralyzed, and the family are basically holding me accountable because I
Yeah.
donated the materials. So I got hold of the police and I said, well, we need to go and investigate this, because,
Yeah.
the last thing I want is this whole community coming knocking on my door.
Yeah.
So I got hold of like the top police guys, and they came with me, and I drove them out in my vehicle. It was like 50 k's on a dirt road, and eventually that dirt road turned out to be a very bad road, and eventually it became a thick sand road, and the car just couldn't go any further.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we decided we're gonna have to walk the last 3 or 4 kilometers. We're gonna have to walk, and it was so hot. But I was walking with these policemen to find this village where this guy was paralyzed, so that we could get him to the hospital and we could do a proper prognosis of what the problem was, and really to soothe out relationships within the community.
Yeah.
But on the way, I was thinking in my head, because I was hoping to drive my truck all the way there and pick him up and drive out. But obviously, we stuck, and now we got 3 kilometers to walk. And while we're walking, I'm just saying to the guy, we need to somehow organize transport,
Yeah.
because how are we going to lift this paralyzed
Yeah.
person? And just by luck, out of the bush came this donkey car. Well, actually, it was an ox wagon.
Yeah.
It had an ox. Actually, had two oxen, and it had a nice back. And I thought, oh, great! What we do, we just commandeer this ox wagon,
Yeah.
and we go and pick up this guy. We blind him in the back of this thing, and we take him back to the car. We can get him to the hospital.
Yeah.
Anyway, what happened was the policeman said, okay, they'll speak to the guy. They spoke to this guy, and they were like talking. I just thought they were going to commandeer and say, let's go, yeah,
Yeah.
we're taking your car. We're taking your cart. After about 20 minutes, they came back to me and they said, okay, listen, yeah, we've sorted it out. And
Yeah.
they continued to walk. I said, whoa.
Yeah.
Are we not commandeering this ox cart? We need it.
Yeah.
They said, no. Don't worry about it. We've spoken to the person and we've explained everything, that this person's paralyzed and he needs our help. But this person said, no, they don't want to help him. They know him and they don't want to help him. And so I said, so is that it? Can't we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
commandeer it, take it?
Yeah.
They said, no, we can't do that. He said, no. And that is when the penny dropped. I mean, not even a policeman, the top charged guy can get a little peasant guy to, go against his saying no.
Yeah.
And he was willing to just continue on and look for make another plan.
Yeah.
Now, that's when I realized this is how these people work. Okay, and I've been viewing it wrong. All along, I've been feeling bad when I said no.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not a problem. If a guy says no, even if in a serious situation where somebody is dying and he's getting paralyzed, knows no, and you can't take my stuff,
Yeah.
and they move on. And this policeman didn't think anything of it. As it turned out, I may as well just finish the story. As it turned out, we walked the other 3 kilometers. We didn't see anybody else. And when we got there, we found the guy, and he was like sitting. When he saw us, he like ran away. And then when we got to the hut, he was like lying on the bed, like half dying. And so we looked around, and there was nothing except a wheelbarrow. So the policeman said, put him in the wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
And get his brother to push the wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Now, and that's what happened. They laid this guy. So he was like lying, like half dead in this wheelbarrow. And his brother was pushing this wheelbarrow, and me and the other two policemen were walking back. I promise you, he hadn't even gone like 30 meters in this wheelbarrow. And all of a sudden, by some miracle, this guy could walk. He was walking and he was fine and he was okay and nothing's no problem. Don't worry, he's okay. Because he knew he was not going to be able to sit in that wheelbarrow for 3 or 4 kilometers. And he also didn't want to go 100 kilometers to the hospital and get caught up with all of that. And so nothing ever came of that because, by some miracle, he was. But the point I'm getting to is when black people or when Filipinos ask for something, it's just asking. They're just hoping,
Yeah.
you know? They don't even have to have a relationship with you to ask. They don't even really believe that you're going to give it to them. They're just asking because there's a chance. There's a small chance. In fact, similar to that place in Africa, there's a guy that whenever I go there, he always asks me for $1.
Yeah.
And he'll say, okay, I'm only asking for this $1 today, and I won't ask again. And he caught me because I did
Yeah.
give him the dollar the first time. But then, like 20 minutes later, he sees me again and asks for another dollar. And I said, I've just given you a dollar. You said that's it.
Yeah.
But he'll always just ask. It's just in their makeup. They'll just ask, 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 ask. So you've got to learn from it and don't take it personally. If they're asking for stuff, you don't have to give it to them. It's purely just asking.
Yeah.
And therefore, I find it difficult, if you know this, how can you get scammed? Because you are then giving it to them because you want to give it to them.
Yeah.
So, how they take the money and spend. For instance, with us, when I met Grace, she didn't have any paperwork, all right? And to obviously get married, she needed all these certificates. So, obviously, the money that I was sending was to get the certificates. Now, I didn't just give her 500,000 pesos and say, organize your passport. No, I said, how much is the first certificate? And she would say to me, it's 800 pesos. And then I'll say, well, where is the place? How's the place? How
Yeah.
far? And then I'd work it out in my mind. Okay, it's 800 for the certificate. She has to drive 3 hours. Can she be there back in a day? Yes, she can. What is the bus? Does somebody must go with her for protection? Yes. And then I'd work it out. So I said, okay, in this case, I need to give you 3 or 4 thousand pesos for you to go and get that document. And then she would spend the money and she'd get the document. And once she's got that document, she'd get the next document and the same process. So I wasn't just sending money
Yeah.
willy nilly. I mean, Grace was also working. I mean, and that's also important. Is the person that you wanted to date or marry, does she work? So that's a good thing. So that's something we wanted to share with you about the psychic. So if you understand how they are and also how they don't hold it against you
Yeah.
when you say no, and therefore you don't have to feel bad to say no. Right? It's not like in our culture. We have to build up lots of time in relationships before we even ask somebody for something. And then if that person rejects you, you feel bad and all that. No, no. It's nothing like that. I think with the Filipino culture.
Yeah.
It's just like water off a duck's back, and it's over. And obviously, if you love the person and you're dating her, so like any date that you have in the Western world, you are buying her a few things.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about the money that I did send you, because obviously there were times when I sent you more money than what you actually were spending. All right, and
Yeah.
I told you, take that and please go buy yourself something nice. So what did you do with that money?
Firstly, that the day that day I told to my husband Jonathan that I don't have any paper documents before we going to Manila to apply my visa. So I told to him I need a passport first. Passport is really needed for airport, especially in visa. So we talking together and we discussing how to work that to get that passport of mine. And then that day same day he sent me money. I don't know how much is this. And then after that, that money not every day, not every minute that Jonathan sent me. She sent me a money where I needed, you know. Even if I run out of my money that I need to pay my documents, my paperwork before Jonathan come in Philippines. So not all of that money that I from him I spend, rubbish things that actually I don't really need it. I spend the money from him that I really needed and useless. So that day, um, I took my dad to go to my paperwork, like passport and NBI, police clearance, X-ray, and all of that, whatever what I need to complete my requirements. So even I want to something to buy like clothes or foods, I can't have it. I can't buy like that expensive, expensive things because I really actually think that I need to first finish and done my paperwork before buy, you know, what I needed.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, so like there was transport involved. Like she said, she had
Yeah,
to take her dad, and so there were lots of expenses. All right. So there wasn't really. I mean, there was a little bit extra money, but I know when I got there, she had actually saved the money. So it's quite funny. She could have spent
yeah.
it.
I spent I no I saved that money because Jonathan he rent a van to pick him in airport, and that night when we go home, I asked him if he's already eaten. So I brought the food to him for in case if he get
Hungry.
hungry.
Yeah.
And then that money that I left for in case to another requirements again, so I can have give it to him to add that requirements that expenses. Not actually, not like other women in our country. If they married a foreigner, maybe they think, I had a foreigner husband now, so I can buy anything what I want. Not like me. I save a money and I buy whatever I needed, especially in requirements I told you guys. Not um warning, warning, guys. I know I married a foreigner, but both of us is not rich. We rich in love, okay? We rich in love.
It's
We
cute.
respect and we respect each other. We communication each other. Not because I married a foreigner because he is rich. Because mom and dad, my family forced me to marry this old man. He's not old. For me is a handsome husband that I got. And I'm luckily that I have him, you know. Even he's not rich, but he's rich in love and respect. And cares.
Yeah. So obviously there's different kind of for some people just having a house would be viewed as rich. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's different levels, and it's a hard thing to kind of equate what is rich and what's not rich. But at the same time, I just noticed with living with Grace, like for instance, we went shopping this morning to get some groceries, and you met some of your Filipino friends, hey,
Yeah.
and they're all the same. They really just scout out for bargains. They're very good at that. They see something. I mean, we've been to the mall, and she sees a nice dress, and she says, "Oh, lovely dress," which is normal to say. Then I'd say, "Let's go and
Yeah.
have a look at it." No, no, no. Look at the price. It's crazy. I said, "No, no." And I once dragged her into the shop, and I bought it, but I'll never do that again because she's got really upset why me doing that, and she hardly ever wears that dress, because I don't know. She's just so. What I do now is she's got this thing, and when she goes back to the Philippines, she's going to fill up her boots with clothing and so on because it's so much cheaper and it's so nicer and
Yeah.
whatever. But the point is, she doesn't abuse what we do have, and that's very important if you're going to marry somebody. You've got that trust that you're never going to go into debt because she's gone and maxed
Yeah.
out your credit card or whatever. No, no, I don't think Filipinos actually do that. The ones I've known, they very, what's the word? They know the value of money, and they don't like spending for stuff that's expensive. If it's good value, they'll buy it. And that, talking about groceries, talking about everything.
Yeah.
They'll buy stuff that's, and I even have to say to her, some of the stuff is pay a little bit more for the vegetables or whatever. Because to me, that's like, instead of buying medicine, I'd rather pay a little bit more and get
Yeah.
good food. And that becomes my medicine. So, I've had to get that into her little mindset. Is don't just go for the cheapest, even vegetables or food. You know, pay a little bit more
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, you're saving because you're not having to go to the doctors and you're eating good stuff and it's good for your body. All right, so I think I put everything to rest that
Yeah.
we do not have the experience that foreigners, sorry, that Filipinos do not understand finances and would take their foreign spouses' money willy nilly. I think some might. They obviously are. Obviously, in any society, there's some criminals, so you've got to be careful. But like I said, it's a two-way system. Somebody actually has to give the money. So if you're giving the
Yeah.
money and not got those checks and balances in place, you can hardly blame the Filipino. And also look at her, fam. What's her influence like? Like I was very fortunate that Grace came from a family which there were still parents, and I obviously spoke to the parents. I understood that the parents were held in high regard, and they were really good people. So there wasn't going to be bad influences. When Grace talks about there was influences, I know where it's come from. And it wasn't from her family; it was immediate family. It was from outside people that were, in a way, they just psyching her up, really, saying, "Oh, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this." Um, but Grace realizes now there's limited funds. She has to budget for everything, and that's how life is. That's how you've got to work at it.
Yeah.
No matter where you live in the world, whether it's in the US, UK,
Yeah.
South Africa, or in the Philippines, you've got to live to your means. All right. Okay, guys, I think we've
Wait,
come to
I'll
the end.
just add something.
Oh, you want to add something?
Even in our culture, as a Filipina, when we going to shopping mall to buy our grocery,
Mm-hmm.
we need to think about it, what we need in is inside the house. As every day, and not every day, every weekend, we go to our shopping, dollar shopping, to buy grocery. I need to put, what we needed inside the house, what kind of food, or what's the cheapest or expensive. If expensive, I don't want to take it. But when we go, these are funny things. When we go to shopping mall, if I saw a beautiful dress that Jonathan, I told to him that, this is a nice dress. This is a, shoes or bags. But if I saw that's expensive, I just keep quiet quickly. Because I don't want to, spend lots of money to buy not important things for me. Maybe in our culture, especially Jonathan being there, that March we had festival. We can spend, I think, expensive things like 100 pesos or 150. That's it. That's expensive for us, as a culture, in our culture as a Filipina.
Yeah.
So, if we go back there, I rather to spend a 50 pesos of shoes or 10 pesos of short. It's a second hand. It's bargain. Not like here, you know. So expensive for me. So
I'm a
it's
chiropodist, guys, and I do not
yeah.
want anybody to wear second-hand shoes because there's fungi, there's all kinds of things. So we'll still, me and Grace are still
Yeah.
up in arms about this particular point. But at the end of the day, I know what she's trying to say, and it's a valid point. You know, she wants things that have value to them. Okay,
So we're really careful how to spend and control our money. Not every time. I want this. We want this. We buy this. No. As a Filipina, how I know how to save it because I learned this to my mom. How to save it money. You know, because it's not easy to find a money. You need to work hard. Put working hard before you get a money. So advise you, don't spend lots of money and buy not important things or expensive things.
that's right. Yeah. Okay, so that kind of clears that up, and I think she's also cleared up the other point is that this story about you got to go to the Philippines, you got to build her a house, and no, there's none of that. I'm not saying that we won't go to the Philippines one day. I'm not saying that we might fall in love with it, but like I've even said to her, I mean, I built many houses,
Yeah.
7 or 8 houses that I built. But if I was going to the Philippines, I'd just build one of those local bamboo houses.
Bamboo
Yeah.
house.
So I'd probably just do something like that, something that's like because it's not hot, it's too hot
Yeah.
there, so you need something light, and if she wants to bring her parents in, that would be fine. But I'm not promising anything like that. So that's why I say to her, let's not discuss anything like that
Yeah.
till we've been in the Philippines, been able to live there for a year or so, and then we make those kind of big decisions. But
Yeah.
right now, we stay here, we do our ministry, we do the work that we're doing, and if things change, then we will change too. But obviously, we want to do some traveling, and we want to take people with us. I want to go to Cape
Yeah.
Town. I want to show Grace that, and obviously show yourselves that the Garden Route, beautiful places, Kruger Park, big national park. So there's lots of things we want to do here now first. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're coming to the end of the year, so we're going to close this off now.
Yeah.
And
Don't forget to
oh yeah,
like again
mm,
and subscribe, share, and if you want something to ask about our blog, our live, and our love team. So write it down so we can reply you later on. And also don't forget to click our YouTube channel.
yeah. All right, guys, keep well. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
See you. Bye bye.